The emergency alarm echoed through the crystal halls of the Galactic Council headquarters. Ambassador Zix Thala's body flickered with nervous purple light as she rushed to the main conference chamber. Her crystalline form cast rainbow patterns on the walls as she moved. Something big had happened, and it involved the humans. The humans were still new to the galaxy. Only 50 years had passed since they first left their small blue planet called Earth. Most species in the council thought humans were interesting but not very important. They were loud, messy, and built things in strange ways. Their ships looked ugly compared to the smooth, elegant vessels other races made. Zix Thala entered the chamber where hundreds of alien representatives had gathered. The air buzzed with different languages and the smell of various atmospheres, mixing together. At the center of the room, a massive hologram displayed what looked like technical drawings. "What are we looking at?" Zix Thala asked as she took her seat next to Commander Thez Coram, a tall, blue-skinned warrior from the military arm of the council. "Human transmissions," Thez Coram replied, his four eyes focused on the display. "Our intelligence ships picked up these signals coming from their home system. The humans appear to be planning something called a star Dreadnought." Zix Thala studied the blueprints floating in the air. The design showed a massive ship, bigger than anything she had ever seen. According to the measurements, it would be over 500 kilometers long. That was bigger than most moons. But that was not the strangest part. "Are they planning to build this thing near their star?" she asked, pointing at the energy collection systems shown in the plans. "It appears so," said Dr. Velnara, the council's chief scientist. Her tentacles waved as she spoke, a sign of excitement or worry. "According to these blueprints, they want to collect energy directly from their sun. They plan to fly this ship close enough to touch the star's outer layer." The chamber erupted in noise. Hundreds of species began talking at once. Some laughed. Others made sounds of disbelief. A few remained silent, but their body language showed they thought the humans had lost their minds. "This is impossible," declared Engineer Kilandra, another crystal being like Zix Thala. "No material can survive that close to a star. The heat would destroy anything in seconds. And the size they're planning? The largest ship ever built by any species is only 10 kilometers long. They want to build something 50 times bigger." "Maybe it's a mistake," suggested Senator Moth Kala, whose insect-like appearance always made others nervous. "Perhaps their translation systems are broken. They might mean something else entirely." But Zix Thala was not so sure. She had dealt with humans before. They were strange, but they were not stupid. They had surprised the galaxy several times already. When everyone said they could never develop faster than light travel, they had done it in just 30 years. When experts claimed their crude fusion reactors would never work properly, humans had improved them until they were more efficient than most alien designs. "We should investigate," she said finally. "Send a reconnaissance mission to their system. If this is real, we need to know about it." Far away in the Sol system, Admiral Sarah Chen stood on the observation deck of the Titan shipyards. Through the thick protective glass, she could see the beginning of humanity's greatest project. Massive construction robots moved through space like metal insects, carrying huge pieces of steel and strange new materials. Sarah was 55 years old and had spent her entire career in space. She had seen humanity grow from a single planet, species to explorers of the solar system. But nothing had prepared her for this moment. "The foundation frame is 30% complete," reported Chief Engineer Martinez as he joined her at the window. "The quantum foundries are working around the clock. We're actually ahead of schedule." Sarah smiled. Ahead of schedule was something humans were famous for, but not in a good way. Most alien species planned their projects carefully and finished them exactly when they said they would. Humans had a habit of starting projects that seemed impossible and somehow making them work, usually faster than anyone expected. "Any word from the alien governments?" Sarah asked. "The usual," Martinez shrugged. "The Galactic Council thinks we're crazy. Half of them don't believe the plans are real. The other half think we'll kill ourselves trying." Sarah looked back at the construction site. The framework was already enormous, stretching out into space like the skeleton of some impossible beast. Robot workers crawled along the metal beams. welding and connecting pieces that would soon hold the most powerful ship ever imagined. The project had started 20 years ago, when human scientists first discovered how to manipulate stellar magnetic fields. Most species used stars for light and heat but kept their distance. Humans looked at stars and saw fuel sources waiting to be tapped. Have you ever wondered why we're the only ones who thought of this? Martinez asked. Sarah considered the question. She had worked with alien engineers before. They were smart, often smarter than humans. Their technology was usually more advanced. But they all seemed to have one thing in common. They accepted limits that humans refused to acknowledge. Maybe because we're too stupid to know it's impossible, she said with a grin. Martinez laughed. That's what I love about our species. We see a star that can melt any known material, and our first thought is, how do we build a ship that can get close to it? The construction continued around them. Massive cargo ships arrived every few hours, bringing new materials and equipment. Some of the metal came from asteroid mines. Other components were built in orbital factories that had been expanded just for this project. The humans had turned their entire solar system into a construction site. The aliens will probably send scouts soon, Sarah said. When they see what we're actually building, they'll panic. Should we be worried about that? Martinez asked. Sarah shook her head. Let them come. Maybe seeing it in person will help them understand. We're not building this thing to threaten anyone. We're building it because humans have always wanted to see what's on the other side of the next hill. In the distance, Earth hung like a blue marble against the black of space. From here, it looked small and peaceful. It was hard to believe that such a tiny planet had produced a species crazy enough to build a ship designed to drink from stars. The construction robots continued their work, following blueprints that alien engineers had declared impossible. Piece by piece, humanity was building something that had never existed before. They were creating a vessel that would change how every species in the galaxy thought about the limits of engineering. Admiral Sarah Chen watched the work continue and smiled. In a few months, the aliens would come to see what humans were really capable of. They would learn that impossible was just another word for something that hadn't been built yet. 3 months had passed since the Galactic Council first saw the human blueprints. Engineer Kilandra floated in her command ship as it approached the edge of the Sol system. Her crystal body hummed with nervous energy. She had volunteered to lead the investigation team, expecting to find nothing but space debris and broken dreams. Instead, her sensors were picking up something impossible. Confirm those readings, she ordered her assistant, a young Vorthak named Silmoth. Silmoth's crystalline fingers danced over the control panel. His body flashed bright yellow, the color of extreme surprise. The readings are correct, engineer. There's a massive artificial structure approximately 150 million kilometers from the local star. Current size is approximately 200 kilometers in length and growing. Kilandra felt her body shift to deep blue, the color of disbelief. 200 kilometers. That was already larger than most space stations. And according to Silmoth, it was still growing. Move us closer, she commanded, but keep us at safe distance. If the humans have actually managed to build something that big, we need to be careful. As their ship moved through the solar system, Kilandra saw signs of human activity everywhere. Massive cargo vessels moved between planets, carrying materials she could not identify. Space stations orbited every major planet, all of them focused on manufacturing something. The humans had turned their entire star system into a giant factory. Engineer, Silmoth called out, his voice tight with worry. You need to see this. The main display lit up with a close view of the human construction. Kilandra's body went completely clear, a sign of total shock. What she saw should not have been possible. The human ship was not just big, it was alive with activity. Thousands of small craft moved around it like insects around a hive. Construction robots the size of buildings welded new sections into place. But most amazing of all, the humans were working in conditions that should have killed them instantly. Are those human workers? She asked, pointing at figures moving along the outer hull. Yes, engineer. Our scanners detect human life signs inside environmental suits. They appear to be performing maintenance work in areas exposed to extreme radiation and temperature variations. Kilandra watched in amazement as human workers moved calmly through conditions that would have destroyed most known species. The radiation levels near their construction site were deadly. The temperature swings from the nearby star should have melted any material. Yet the humans worked as if they were in their own backyard. "How are they surviving out there?" she whispered. Her question was answered when she saw the human environmental suits in detail. They were not the elegant, efficient designs most species used. Instead, they looked like small spaceships built around a single person. Layers of armor, multiple life support systems, and cooling units that could handle temperature swings of thousands of degrees. "They overbuilt their safety equipment," Silmoth observed. "Most species design suits to handle expected conditions plus a safety margin. The humans appear to have designed suits that can handle conditions 10 times worse than anything they might encounter." It was typical human thinking. Instead of building something just good enough, they built something that could survive almost anything. Other species called it wasteful. Humans called it being prepared. But the environmental suits were just the beginning. As Kilandra studied the massive ship under construction, she began to understand the human approach to engineering. Where other species would build one large, perfect system, the humans had built thousands of smaller systems that worked together. Each section appears to be independent, she noted as she examined the structure. If one part fails, the others continue functioning. More than that, Silmoth added, studying the sensor data. They appear to have built extra sections for every critical system. If something breaks, they can replace it immediately. Kilandra had heard about human redundancy before, but seeing it on this scale was breathtaking. The humans had not just built one power system for their massive ship. They had built dozens of them. They had not created one control center. They had created hundreds, each capable of running the entire vessel if needed. "It's like they expect everything to break," she said. "According to human engineering philosophy, everything does break eventually," Silmoth replied, reading from his database. "They design systems assuming failure will happen, then build enough backup systems to continue operating anyway, as if to prove the point." Kilandra watched a section of the ship's outer hull suddenly explode in a shower of sparks. For a moment, she thought the entire project was about to fail. Instead, human work crews calmly moved to the damaged area while robots began installing a replacement section that appeared to have been waiting nearby. "They had a spare ready," she said in amazement. "They appear to have spares for everything," Silmoth confirmed. "Our scans detect massive storage areas filled with replacement components. They have built enough backup parts to rebuild the entire ship several times over." The more Kilandra studied the human construction, the more she realized how different their thinking was. Most species built things to last forever. Humans built things expecting them to break, then made sure they could fix or replace them quickly. As her ship moved closer, she began to see the most incredible part of the human project. The massive vessel was designed to collect energy directly from its star. Huge magnetic field generators created corridors that could channel stellar plasma into containment systems. The humans were literally planning to feed their ship with starfire. "This should not be possible," she said, studying the energy collection arrays. "The magnetic fields required would need more power than most planets produce." "The humans appear to be using the star's own magnetic field," Silmoth explained. "They are not fighting against stellar forces. They are redirecting them." It was brilliant and terrifying at the same time. Instead of trying to overpower a star, the humans had found a way to work with it. They were using the star's own energy to control the star's own plasma. It was like using a river's current to build a dam across the river. "Send a message to the Galactic Council," Kilandra ordered. "Tell them the human project is real and functional. Also tell them we need to revise our understanding of what is possible." As her ship prepared to leave the Sol system, Kilandra took one last look at the massive human construction. In just 3 months, they had built something larger than many moons. They had created technology that could manipulate stellar forces, and they had done it using an approach to engineering that most species considered primitive. "Engineer?" Silmoth asked as they turned away from the human project. "Should we be worried about this?" Kilandra considered the question. The humans had built something that could potentially threaten entire star systems. But from what she had observed. They seemed more interested in solving engineering problems than conquering other species. I think, she said slowly, we should be worried about underestimating them again. Behind them, the human star Dreadnought continued to grow, fed by the fires of its own star, and built by a species that refused to accept the word impossible. Captain Elena Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the Prometheus Rising and felt the deck vibrate beneath her feet. After 18 months of construction, the massive star Dreadnought was finally ready for its first real test. Through the main view screen, she could see the sun burning in the distance, its surface dancing with solar flares and magnetic storms. All systems report ready, Captain, announced Lieutenant Park from the engineering station. Stellar collectors are deployed and locked. Magnetic field generators are at full power. All crew members are secured for proximity operations. Elena nodded and activated the ship-wide communication system. All hands, this is the captain. Today we find out if 2 years of work and the dreams of our entire species will become reality. Prepare for stellar approach. The Prometheus Rising was 500 kilometers long and bristling with technology that most aliens still believed was impossible. Its hull was made from materials that could survive temperatures that would melt planets. Its magnetic field generators could reshape solar wind and plasma flows. Most importantly, its quantum batteries could store the energy output of a small star. Begin approach, Elena ordered. The massive ship moved slowly toward the sun, its engines creating ripples in space-time itself. As they drew closer, the temperature readings on the hull began climbing rapidly. 1,000 degrees, 5,000, 10,000. Any normal ship would have been destroyed instantly. Hull temperature is within acceptable limits, Park reported calmly. Cooling systems are functioning normally. Stellar radiation is being absorbed by the collection arrays. Elena watched the numbers on her displays climb higher and higher. The humans had designed their ship to not just survive near a star, but to thrive there. Every photon of deadly radiation was being captured and converted to useful energy. Every solar particle that struck their hull was being channeled into their power systems. Position us between Mercury and the Sun, she commanded. Begin stellar collection sequence. What happened next sent signals racing across the galaxy at faster than light speeds. The Prometheus Rising extended massive magnetic field projectors that reached out toward the sun like invisible arms. These fields grabbed hold of solar plasma and began pulling streams of starfire directly into the ship's collection systems. On Earth, astronomers watched their instruments in amazement as their star's behavior suddenly changed. Solar flares that should have lasted hours were being controlled and redirected. Plasma streams that normally wandered randomly through space were being organized into neat, controlled flows. Collection efficiency is at 93%, Park announced. Energy storage is increasing rapidly. We're collecting the equivalent of Earth's total annual energy consumption every 30 seconds. Elena smiled. The human race had built a ship that could drink from stars like other species sipped water from a cup. They had taken the most destructive forces in the universe and turned them into fuel for exploration, but they were not alone in their success. Fleet Admiral Thezkarim watched the human demonstration from his flagship at the edge of the Sol system. His 4 eyes were wide with disbelief as his sensors registered what the humans were accomplishing. Sir, his communications officer reported, we're receiving a transmission from the human ship. Put it through, Thezkarim ordered. The main screen flickered and showed Captain Rodriguez standing on her bridge. Behind her, displays showed energy readings that made no sense according to known physics. Greetings, Admiral Thezkarim, Elena said with a warm smile. Welcome to the maiden voyage of the Prometheus Rising. We're honored to have witnesses to this historic moment. Captain Rodriguez, Thezkarim replied, trying to keep his voice steady. What exactly are you doing to your star? We're borrowing some energy, Elena explained as if it was the most natural thing in the galaxy. Don't worry, we're only taking a tiny fraction of the sun's output. It will keep burning for billions of years whether we collect energy from it or not. Thezkarim looked at his sensor readings again. The humans were collecting energy on a scale he had never imagined possible. In just 1 hour, they had gathered more power than his entire fleet used in a year. This technology, he said carefully, It could be used as a weapon. Elena's expression became serious. Admiral, almost any technology can be used as a weapon if you try hard enough. But that's not why we built this ship. Would you like to see our real purpose? Before Thescorium could answer, Elena activated another set of systems. The Prometheus Rising began to change shape as massive sections of its hull moved and reconfigured. What had been a ship designed for energy collection transformed into something else entirely. These are our exploration systems, Elena explained, as new sensor arrays deployed from the ship's hull. Long-range telescopes capable of mapping star systems thousands of light-years away. Communication equipment designed to maintain contact across galactic distances. And most importantly, life support systems that can keep human crews alive for journeys lasting centuries. Centuries? Thescorium asked. We're not planning to stay in this galaxy forever, Admiral. The Prometheus Rising is designed to carry human colonies to other galaxies. We want to see what's beyond the Milky Way. The revelation hit Thescorium like a physical blow. The humans had not built a weapon of conquest. They had built an ark for exploration. They were planning to leave the galaxy entirely, to voyage into the vast emptiness between galaxies where only the most powerful ships could survive. That's impossible, he said. The distance between galaxies is too great. No ship could carry enough fuel for such a journey. Elena gestured toward the sun, where her ship continued to collect stellar energy. We don't need to carry fuel, Admiral. We carry our fuel source with us. The Prometheus Rising can create small, controlled stars in its reactor cores. We can refuel anywhere there's hydrogen gas, and space is full of hydrogen. As if to demonstrate, the ship's engines ignited briefly. The exhaust was not the usual plasma flame most ships produced, but actual stellar fire contained and directed by magnetic fields. The Prometheus Rising was not just powered by stars. It was powered like a star. Your species continues to amaze us, Thescorium admitted. Every time we think we understand human capabilities, you show us something we thought was impossible. That's probably because we don't know what's impossible, Elena replied with a grin. We're too stubborn to listen when the universe tells us something can't be done. As the demonstration continued, other alien ships began arriving in the Sol system. News of the human achievement was spreading across the galaxy. Some came out of curiosity. Others came out of fear. All of them came away with a new understanding of what humans were capable of. Dr. Vasquez, the ship's chief engineer, joined Elena on the bridge as they completed their energy collection tests. All systems are performing beyond specifications, she reported. We could begin interstellar operations immediately. Elena looked out at the alien fleet, watching them from a safe distance. Representatives of dozens of species had come to witness what humans could accomplish when they refused to accept limitations. Not yet, she said. First, I think we need to have some conversations with our galactic neighbors. They're going to have questions and we owe them answers. The Prometheus Rising had proven that humans could build ships capable of drinking from stars and traveling between galaxies. But more importantly, it had proven that human engineering could turn the impossible into the inevitable through sheer determination and creative thinking. The emergency session of the Galactic Council was unlike anything in recorded history. Representatives from every known species had gathered, their various forms of communication creating a chaos of sounds, lights, and electromagnetic signals. At the center of the Great Hall, a massive holographic display showed the human star Dreadnought collecting energy from its star, like some impossible creature feeding on fire. Ambassador Zixthala's crystalline body flickered between colors as she tried to maintain order. The demonstration of human technology had shattered every assumption about what was possible in the galaxy. Species that had remained neutral for centuries were demanding action. Military powers were calling for immediate intervention. Even the outsider, ancient peaceful races were expressing concern about the implications of stellar engineering. The humans have violated the fundamental laws of physics, declared General Krostha of the militant Krang Empire. His reptilian features were twisted with rage and fear. No species should possess technology capable of manipulating stars. They could destroy entire solar systems. They could destroy the galaxy, added Senator Vale Knox from the hegemony of Worlds. What happens when they decide to collect energy from other species' home stars? But before the debate could continue, something extraordinary happened. The air in the council chamber began to shimmer, and a presence made itself known that had not spoken in the galaxy for over 1,000,000 years. The ethereal collective materialized in the center of the chamber, their forms shifting between pure energy and something resembling consciousness given shape. Every species present fell silent. The ethereals were the oldest known intelligence in the galaxy, beings who had evolved beyond physical form eons ago. They observed everything but interfered with nothing, until now. "We greet the assembled species," the lead ethereal communicated, directly into every mind present, its voice like the whisper of solar wind across empty space. "We have watched the development of this galaxy for 1.7 million of your years. We have seen civilizations rise and fall, technologies develop and stagnate, species expand and extinct themselves." Zixthala found her voice first. "Great ones, why do you speak to us now? What brings you to break your ancient silence?" "The humans," the ethereal replied simply. "They have achieved something we have been waiting to witness for longer than your species have existed. They have developed true stellar engineering." The chamber erupted in confused voices, but the ethereal continued. "Most species learn to harness the energy of their stars from a distance. They build collectors in space, fusion reactors that mimic stellar processes or solar arrays that capture radiation. But humans have learned to drink directly from stellar fires. This represents a fundamental shift in galactic civilization." "You speak as if this is a good thing," General Crossitha growled. "They pose a threat to every living world." "Do they?" the ethereal asked. "Have humans used their star drinker to threaten any world? Have they demanded tribute or submission from other species? Have they even left their home system to demonstrate their power elsewhere?" The questions hung in the air like accusations. The truth was that humans had done none of these things. Despite building a ship capable of incredible destruction, they had used it only for peaceful demonstrations and energy collection. Dr. Elena Vasquez appeared in the chamber via holographic projection from the Prometheus Rising. Her presence caused a new wave of nervous energy among the assembled aliens. Here was one of the humans responsible for technology that defied known physics. "Honored representatives," Elena began, her voice calm despite addressing the most powerful beings in the galaxy. "I understand your concerns about our project. Many of you see the Prometheus Rising as a weapon. I'd like to explain why you're both right and wrong." She activated her own holographic display, showing detailed schematics of the star Dreadnought. "Yes, our ship could be used as a weapon. The energy we collect from stars could theoretically be weaponized. But that's true of any advanced technology. Your fusion reactors could be turned into bombs. Your antimatter engines could be used to destroy planets. Your quantum computers could be used to hack and control other species' systems. The difference," interrupted Commander Thezcorum, "is scale. Your ship operates on the level of stellar forces." "Exactly," Elena agreed, "which is why we designed it with safeguards that make weaponization almost impossible. Our stellar collectors require specific magnetic field configurations that take hours to establish. Our energy storage systems are designed to release power, slowly and steadily, not in sudden bursts. Most importantly, our ship is designed for construction and exploration, not destruction." She changed the display to show the ship's internal structure. Alien engineers gasped as they saw the true purpose of the Prometheus Rising. Most of the massive vessel was not weapons or defenses, but manufacturing systems, living spaces, and equipment for building new civilizations. "We built this ship because humans have always wondered what's on the other side of the next hill," Elena continued. "For us, the next hill is the space between galaxies. We want to explore regions where only stellar-powered ships can survive. We want to build new homes among distant stars. Most importantly, we want to learn what else is possible in this universe." The ethereal collective pulsed with what might have been approval. The humans understand what many species have forgotten. Technology is not an end goal. It is a tool for expanding the possible. "But their methods," protested Engineer Kilandra, who had observed the human construction firsthand. "They build everything with such excess." Why create systems 10 times stronger than necessary? Why design ships that can survive conditions they may never encounter? Elena smiled. Because we've learned that the universe is full of surprises. When our ancestors first tried to fly, they built aircraft that could barely lift off the ground. Many of them crashed. So we learned to build aircraft that could handle windstorms, mechanical failures, and pilot errors. When we first went to space, we built rockets that could barely reach orbit. Many of them exploded. So we learned to build spacecraft with backup systems for the backup systems. Your species plans for failure, observed the ethereal. Our species learns from failure, Elena corrected. Every human engineer knows that anything that can go wrong eventually will go wrong. So we build things tough enough to keep working when everything goes wrong at once. Dr. Vasquez activated another display showing human construction techniques. Where other species built elegant, efficient systems, humans built robust, redundant ones. Where aliens created beautiful, streamlined designs, humans created functional, overbuilt monsters that could survive almost anything. Your approach seems wasteful, commented Senator Mothkala. Maybe, Elena admitted, but it works. Our wasteful construction techniques have let us build a ship that can drink from stars and survive in the space between galaxies. Your efficient designs are beautiful, but could they do what the Prometheus Rising can do? The question silenced the chamber. Every species present had to admit that their elegant, efficient technologies could not come close to matching human achievements. The humans had succeeded precisely because they refused to build anything that was merely good enough. There is another reason we called this gathering, the ethereal announced. The humans have asked us to share something that will change how all species view their future. Elena nodded. The Prometheus Rising is not a single ship. It's the prototype. For Project Exodus, we're planning to build a fleet of stellar-powered vessels, each capable of carrying human colonies to other galaxies. But we're not planning to go alone. The revelation sent shockwaves through the assembled representatives. The humans were not just planning to leave the galaxy. They were offering to take others with them. Any species that wants to explore beyond the Milky Way is welcome to join us, Elena continued. We can share our stellar engineering technology with anyone who wants to reach the distant galaxies. The universe is big enough for all of us. The offer changed everything. Suddenly, the human star Dreadnought was not a threat to be feared, but an opportunity to be embraced. Species that had been demanding human submission were now asking about partnership agreements. 6 months after the Galactic Council meeting, the Sol system had become the busiest place in known space. Ships from dozens of species arrived daily, carrying engineers, scientists, and diplomats who wanted to learn about human stellar engineering. The space around the Prometheus Rising looked like a massive interstellar convention, with vessels of every imaginable design maintaining careful distances from the still-growing human dreadnought. Captain Elena Rodriguez stood in her ready room, reviewing the morning reports. The numbers were staggering. 17 species had formally requested partnership in Project Exodus. The Vorthak had offered to share their crystal-based computer technology in exchange for stellar collection systems. The peaceful Zorithian Republic wanted to buy construction rights to build their own exploration vessels. Even the militant Krang Empire had quietly submitted a proposal for joint military exercises. Captain, Lieutenant Park announced over the intercom, we're receiving a priority transmission from the Ethereal Collective. Elena made her way to the bridge, where the main view screen flickered to life. The lead Ethereal appeared, its energy, form more solid than usual, suggesting the importance of the communication. Captain Rodriguez, the Ethereal began. We have reached a decision regarding humanity's place in galactic civilization. The collective formally recognizes humans as the galaxy's first stellar civilization, with all the rights and responsibilities that entails. Elena felt a chill run down her spine. She had read about stellar civilizations in ancient alien texts, but most species considered them myths. According to legend, a stellar civilization was one capable of engineering stars themselves, of treating suns as tools rather than distant energy sources. What does that mean exactly? She asked. It means, the Ethereal explained, that humanity is now considered a guardian species for this galaxy. The ancient technologies hidden in the galactic core, the stellar engineering knowledge of extinct civilizations, the secrets of manipulating black holes and neutron stars, all of this becomes accessible to your species. The implications were staggering. Elena realized that humans had not just built an impressive ship, they had passed some kind of cosmic test that qualified them for knowledge beyond anything they had imagined. But with great knowledge comes great responsibility, the ethereal continued. Stellar civilizations are tasked with protecting younger species and preventing the misuse of cosmic-scale technologies. Are humans prepared to accept this role? Elena thought about her species' history. Humans had always been protectors when it mattered, but they had also been destroyers when they felt threatened. The idea of becoming galactic guardians was both thrilling and terrifying. "We'll do our best," she said simply. "That's all humans have ever been able to promise." The ethereal pulsed with what might have been amusement. "Your honesty is refreshing. Most species would have made grand proclamations about their wisdom and virtue. Humans admit they will make mistakes and try to learn from them. Perhaps that is exactly what this galaxy needs." As the transmission ended, Elena turned to see Dr. Vasquez entering the bridge with a tablet full of new reports. "Elena, you need to see this," the chief engineer said excitedly. "We're getting requests for assistance with projects that seemed impossible before our demonstration. The Nexus wants help building a computer the size of a moon. The Hegemony is asking if we can help them move their homeworld to a safer solar system. Even the Ethereals have submitted a proposal for something they call a Galactic Transportation Network." Elena scrolled through the requests, each one more ambitious than the last. Species that had accepted limitations for thousands of years were suddenly asking humans to help them break through barriers they had never imagined crossing. "It's like our success gave everyone else permission to dream bigger," she observed. "That's exactly what happened," Dr. Vasquez agreed. "For too long, galactic civilization has been focused on perfecting existing technologies rather than developing new ones. We showed them that impossible problems are just engineering challenges waiting for the right approach." A new communication request came through, this one from Admiral Thez Korim. Elena accepted the call, and the alien commander's image appeared on the screen. "Captain Rodriguez," he said formally, "I wanted to personally inform you that the Galactic Council has approved funding for a joint exploration mission to the Andromeda Galaxy. 3 species have volunteered to modify their ships with human stellar collection technology. We're calling it the Pioneer Fleet." Elena smiled. The idea of other species joining humanity's journey to distant galaxies had seemed impossible just months ago. Now it was becoming reality. "When do we leave?" she asked. "The Prometheus Rising will depart Sol in 1 month," Thez Korim replied. "The other ships will join you at the Galactic Rim. Together, you'll attempt the first intergalactic journey in recorded history." After the communication ended, Elena made her way to the observation deck where she could see the construction happening around her ship. Human workers and alien engineers now worked side by side, sharing technologies and techniques that would have seemed impossible to combine. The Prometheus Rising itself had grown even larger, incorporating new technologies provided by partner species. Crystal computer cores from the Vorthak increased computational power. Quantum field generators from the Nexus improved efficiency. Living metal from the Zorithians made the hull more adaptive to changing conditions. But the most important changes were not technological, they were philosophical. Species throughout the galaxy were beginning to adopt human approaches to problem solving. Instead of accepting limitations, they were asking, how do we work around this? Instead of building things that were just good enough, they were building things that could survive the unexpected. Dr. Vasquez joined Elena at the observation window. "Are you ready for this?" she asked. "Leaving the galaxy, I mean. We might not come back for centuries, if ever." Elena considered the question. Earth was still visible in the distance, a small blue dot that represented everything humans had ever known. But beyond the galaxy's edge lay mysteries that no species had ever explored. "I think that's the point," she said finally. "Humans have always been explorers. We've always wanted to see what's over the next hill, around the next corner, beyond. The next star. The space between galaxies is just the biggest next step we've ever taken. A month later, the Prometheus Rising began its final journey through the Sol system. As it passed Earth, every human settlement, space station, and orbital facility sent messages of support and encouragement. Children who would grow up in other galaxies waved goodbye to the world that had given birth to their species. At the Galactic Rim, 3 other massive ships waited. The Vorthak exploration vessel Crystal Dreams, its hull gleaming with living crystal matrices. The Zorithian colony ship Peaceful Wanderer, designed to carry entire ecosystems to new worlds. And most surprisingly, the Krang battleship Iron Resolve, retrofitted for exploration rather than conquest. Admiral Thezes Korum's voice came over the intership communication system. All vessels report ready for intergalactic transit. Course is set for the Andromeda Galaxy, arrival time estimated at 67 years. All crews are prepared for the longest journey in recorded history. Elena looked out at the edge of everything they had ever known. Beyond the galaxy's spiral arms lay the vast emptiness of intergalactic space, where only ships powered by stars could survive the journey. "This is Captain Rodriguez of the Prometheus Rising," she announced to the fleet. "Today we leave everything familiar behind and venture into the unknown. We carry with us the hopes of dozens of species and the dreams of billions of individuals. We go not as conquerors, but as explorers. We go not to escape our problems, but to discover new possibilities." The 4 ships began their acceleration, their stellar engines creating controlled starfire that propelled them toward the darkness between galaxies. Behind them, the Milky Way slowly shrank to a distant spiral of light. Ambassador Zix Thala watched from the observation deck of a council ship as the Pioneer fleet disappeared into the cosmic void. Her crystalline body glowed with colors that had no names, emotions that no species had ever experienced before. She was recording her final log entry about humanity and their impossible achievement. "We spent millennia learning to work within the universe's limitations," she dictated. "We accepted that some things were impossible, that some barriers could not be crossed, that some dreams were too big to achieve. Humans, it seems, prefer to negotiate with impossibility rather than surrender to it." They looked at a star and saw fuel. They looked at the space between galaxies and saw a destination. They looked at problems we considered unsolvable and saw interesting engineering challenges. Perhaps most importantly, they looked at failure and saw education. Today, 4 ships carry the combined hopes of galactic civilization into the void between galaxies. They are powered by stellar fire, crewed by multiple species, and guided by human determination. If they succeed, they will prove that no dream is too large, no goal too distant, no challenge too impossible. And if they fail, they will teach us something valuable about the nature of ambition and the price of dreaming beyond our limits.